Urban Reign is a gritty 3D beat-em-up developed by Namco and released for PlayStation 2 in 2005. Focused on fast, hard-hitting street combat, the game puts players in the role of Brad Hawk, a freelance brawler hired to bring order to a city torn apart by gang violence. It's a brutal, arcade-style experience, blending martial arts, grappling, and weapon-based fighting. The story kicks off as Brad is recruited by a local gang leader to investigate the disappearance of a key figure. As tensions between rival gangs rise, Brad uncovers a deeper conspiracy involving corrupt officials and a mysterious drug operation. The narrative is simple but effective, serving as a backdrop for over 100 tightly designed missions packed with action. Gameplay revolves around high-speed melee combat, with a focus on combos, counters, and crowd control. Players can fight solo or with an AI partner, chaining attacks, throwing enemies, and using weapons like pipes and bottles. Each mission presents different objectives, from survival challenges to time-based battles, keeping the action fresh. Visually, Urban Reign delivers a gritty, urban aesthetic with realistic character models and detailed city environments. The animation is fluid, with impactful combat moves that make every punch feel satisfying. The game also features characters from the Tekken series, including Paul Phoenix and Martial Law, as unlockable fighters. Fun facts: Urban Reign was developed by the same team behind Tekken and Soul Calibur, and it shows in its polished fighting mechanics. While it didn't gain huge mainstream success, it earned a cult following for its deep combat system and local co-op mode. It supports up to 4 players in versus mode, making it one of the more robust multiplayer brawlers on the PS2. God Hand is an over-the-top 3D beat-em-up developed by Clover Studio and published by Capcom in 2006. Known for its wild humor, intense difficulty, and unique combat mechanics, it follows the story of Gene, a cocky drifter who receives the legendary God Hand to battle demons threatening the world. The game blends slapstick comedy with hard-hitting martial arts action in a bizarre Western meets anime setting. The story begins when Gene loses his arm, saving a mysterious woman named Olivia. She replaces it with the God Hand, granting him immense power to fight off the 4 devas of the demon world. The narrative is intentionally campy and packed with absurd characters from dominatrix demons to lucha libre wrestlers, making it feel like a playable parody of action tropes. Gameplay is where God Hand truly shines. Players can fully customize Gene's moveset from dozens of unlockable attacks, assigning them to individual buttons for combo creativity. The combat is deep and reactive, with a dynamic difficulty system that ramps up as you play better. Dodging, countering, and timing your hits are crucial. Button mashing won't save you here. Visually, the game opts for stylized low-budget charm over polish. Environments are basic, but character animations are expressive. And the sheer personality in every encounter keeps things entertaining. The soundtrack mixes rock, funk, and mariachi flair, perfectly matching the chaotic tone of the game. Fun facts: God Hand was the final game by Clover Studio before it disbanded. Many of its developers later formed Platinum Games. The game received mixed reviews at launch, but has since gained cult classic status. Its level-up system was ahead of its time, and God Hand is still praised today for its mechanical depth and offbeat humor. Oh, and yes, you can suplex a gorilla in a luchador mask. The Bouncer is a cinematic beat-em-up developed by Dream Factory and published by Square Enix, then Squaresoft, as one of the early PlayStation 2 titles, released in 2000 in Japan and 2001 in North America. Designed as a playable action movie, it mixes real-time brawling with heavy storytelling, flashy cutscenes, and dramatic character moments. The game follows 3 nightclub bouncers, Sion, Volt, and Q, as they try to rescue their kidnapped friend, Dominique, from a shadowy mega-corporation called Mikado. What starts as a simple rescue mission evolves into a larger battle involving conspiracies, androids, and a space-based super weapon. The story is linear, but offers perspective shifts depending on which character you play as. Gameplay focuses on 3D arena-style combat, where players fight in short stages filled with hand-to-hand battles. You can switch between the 3 main characters, each with different fighting styles and stats. Experience points earned in combat can be spent to upgrade health, power, and unlock new moves. The game also includes versus and co-op multiplayer modes. Visually, the Bouncer was impressive for its time, featuring high-quality character models, motion capture, and real-time cutscenes that blended seamlessly with gameplay. Its mix of sci-fi and urban style, combined with a strong soundtrack and voice acting, helped create a stylized and cinematic atmosphere that set it apart from other brawlers. Fun facts. The Bouncer was hyped as a PS2 showcase title, and co-developed by staff who worked on Final Fantasy VII and Tobal No. 1. Despite its short length, it gained a cult following thanks to its stylish presentation and unique tone. The game's emphasis on cutscenes over gameplay was divisive, but it remains one of the more memorable PS2 launch-era experiments. The Warriors is a beat-em-up developed by Rockstar Toronto and released for PlayStation 2 in 2005. Based on the 1979 cult film of the same name, the game expands the movie's universe by diving into the backstories of the iconic street gang. It combines brutal melee combat, urban exploration, and stylized 1970s gang warfare in a faithful tribute to the source material. The game follows the Warriors, a Coney Island gang framed for the murder of a rival gang leader during a massive summit in New York City. Players must fight their way across hostile territories to make it home, all while avoiding the police and vengeful gangs. The story also includes prequel missions that show how each member joined the crew, giving depth to the original characters. Gameplay features raw, close quarters brawling with punches, grapples, throws, and improvised weapons like bricks, bottles, and bats. Players can take part in single-player or co-op mode with missions involving turf battles, tagging graffiti, stealing car radios, and escaping ambushes. Combat is visceral and satisfying, with a strong arcade feel. Visually, The Warriors captures the gritty, grimy look of late 70s New York. The environments are dark, dirty, and filled with detail, while character models are stylized but recognizable. The soundtrack features funk, rock, and original score that amplifies the mood, and voice acting includes many actors from the original film reprising their roles. Fun facts. The Warriors game was officially licensed and praised by fans of the film for staying faithful to the tone and setting. Rockstar included nearly 20 playable gangs and even added a fully voiced tutorial mode. The game was so well received, it helped renew interest in the movie itself. There's even a hidden boxing minigame and unlockable costumes from other Rockstar titles. Beatdown. Fist of Vengeance is an action RPG and beat-em-up hybrid developed by Cavia and published by Capcom in 2005 for the PlayStation 2. Set in the crime-ridden city of Las Sombras, the game tells a dark tale of betrayal, revenge, and survival in the criminal underworld. Players choose from 5 different characters, all betrayed by the same corrupt crime syndicate. The story begins after a deadly ambush. The protagonist narrowly escapes with their life and goes into hiding, determined to take down their former bosses and rebuild their reputation. The plot branches depending on choices, alliances, and player actions, offering multiple endings and a wide range of story outcomes, depending on who you trust or double-cross. Gameplay mixes classic beat-em-up combat with open-world exploration and RPG mechanics. You can recruit allies, interrogate or bribe NPCs, disguise yourself to avoid detection, and earn money through street fights or odd jobs. The brawling system allows for counters, grapples, and brutal finishing moves, while character progression involves leveling up and customizing your stats and appearance. Visually, Beatdown has a raw, gritty aesthetic with urban backdrops, dark lighting, and mature character designs. The city is broken into zones filled with rival gangs and thugs, giving it a sandbox feel. The voice acting and soundtrack lean into the game's mature tone, with a mix of aggressive music and noir-inspired atmosphere. Fun facts. Beatdown. Fist of Vengeance is one of Capcom's lesser-known titles, but it gained a cult following for its unique blend of genres. Unlike most brawlers, it includes a full dialogue system and multiple disguises to affect how NPCs react. The game also has a versus mode and multiple unlockable characters, adding to its replay value. Final Fight. Streetwise is a 3D beat-em-up developed by Capcom Studio 8 and released in 2006 for the PlayStation 2. As a modern continuation of the classic Final Fight series, the game brings the street brawling action into a darker, more urban setting. Players step into the shoes of Kyle Travers, a street fighter trying to save his brother Cody, one of the original heroes from the SNES era. The story takes place in Metro City, now even more corrupt and dangerous than before. When Cody is kidnapped and caught up in a sinister drug conspiracy involving a mysterious substance called Glow, Kyle fights his way through gangs, underground arenas, and twisted enemies to uncover the truth and save his brother from a deadly fate. Gameplay combines traditional beat-em-up mechanics with modern upgrades. Players can punch, kick, block, grapple, and use finishers on enemies. As the game progresses, Kyle earns cash to buy new combos, power-ups, and health boosts. There are also side missions, mini-games, and street fights that flesh out the city and provide variety beyond the main story. Visually, Streetwise adopts a grim, realistic tone with dirty alleyways, graffiti-covered streets, and seedy nightclubs. The game features fully voiced cutscenes, a hip-hop and rock-infused soundtrack, and a raw atmosphere that leans into early 2000s urban style. It also includes a 2D version of the original Final Fight as a bonus. Fun facts! Final Fight Streetwise is the fourth and final entry in the Final Fight series, but it received mixed reviews due to its drastic shift in tone and gameplay. The game includes cameos from classic characters like Guy and Hager. Interestingly, despite criticism, it has developed a cult following for its bold attempt to modernize a beloved franchise. Viewtiful Joe is a stylish side-scrolling beat-em-up developed by Clover Studio and published by Capcom. Originally released on the GameCube in 2003, it was later ported to the PlayStation 2 in 2004. The game follows Joe, a movie-obsessed slacker who transforms into a superhero to save his girlfriend from being kidnapped into a film world. The game blends old-school brawling with a unique comic book flair. The story kicks off when Joe and his girlfriend Sylvia attend a movie featuring his idol, Captain Blue. Suddenly, the screen comes to life, and Sylvia is pulled into the movie's universe. Joe follows and gains superpowers from Captain Blue, becoming Viewtiful Joe, a hero with time-bending abilities used to fight cinematic villains and restore order to the movie world. Gameplay combines fast-paced combat with puzzle elements powered by Joe's VFX powers, which let him slow down, speed up, or zoom in on the action. These powers not only help in combat, but also solve environmental challenges, making the gameplay both stylish and strategic. Players must master combos, dodging, and timing to survive the game's tough enemies and bosses. Visually, Viewtiful Joe stands out with its cel-shaded art style, mimicking the look of a living comic book. The animations are crisp, the effects exaggerated, and the entire presentation feels like a Saturday morning cartoon mixed with a kung fu movie. The PS2 version adds Dante from Devil May Cry as an unlockable character, offering extra replay value. Fun facts: Viewtiful Joe was one of the Capcom 5 titles originally planned as GameCube exclusives. It was directed by Hideki Kamiya, known for Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. The game was praised for its originality and challenge, becoming a cult hit and spawning sequels, an anime series, and strong fan support even years after release. Dragon Sisters is a 2.5D beat-em-up brawler released on PlayStation 2 in 2005 in Japan. Developed by Tamsoft and published by D3 Publisher, it features fast-paced side-view combat in the vein of Streets of Rage or Fighting Force. The core action revolves around two cyborg heroines, Kiku and Hana, battling through a dystopian sci-fi world. The story takes place a century after a great war. An aggressive East Asian empire invades its peaceful neighbor, intending to abduct skilled scientists. In response, Kiku and Hana and their cyborg powers emerge from mysterious coffins to defend the civilian population and restore order to the empire. It's simple yet cinematic sacrifice, driven by their mission to protect. Gameplay spans 10 linear stages, each culminating in a boss fight. Players collect glowing orbs from defeated foes to upgrade health, power, speed, and unlock new combo moves. The game supports single-player or cooperative two-player play, and focuses heavily on chaining attacks into flashy combos using punch and kick buttons. Visually, Dragon Sisters presents a gritty, futuristic world with robotic enemies and anime-inspired character design. Mechanics include a relentless meter that enables screen-clearing special attacks when filled, but needs recharging, introducing resource management into the brawling. Despite repetitive level design, the combo system offers some depth for fans of beat-em-ups. Fun facts. Originally released in Japan as a budget, simple 2000 title, Dragon Sisters never launched in North America, but received a European release under its English name. Featuring a female duo of cyborg warriors, it stands out as an obscure entry in the genre. Critics and players alike often note that while it has style and combo flair, it earns a reputation for repetitive stages and limited enemy variety. Crismon Tedars is a cel-shaded 3D beat-em-up with RPG elements, developed by Dream Factory and published by Capcom exclusively for PlayStation 2 in 2004. The game blends anime-style visuals with roguelite mechanics and intense hand-to-hand combat. Players control one of 3 genetically enhanced warriors as they fight through randomly generated levels in a dystopian Tokyo. Set in the year 2049, the game takes place in a future where a shady biotech company called ARMA has created artificial life forms for combat. When their underground experiments spiral out of control, 3 prototype beings, Tokito, Asuka, and Katsuma, rebel against their creators. The narrative explores identity, rebellion, and the clash between synthetic life and human ambition. Gameplay mixes fast-paced melee combat with exploration and light RPG systems. Players explore dungeons filled with enemies, traps, and loot, earning experience points and upgrading abilities. Weapon crafting and item management play key roles, and the levels change with every run, adding replayability through procedural generation. Visually, Crismon Tedars stands out with its bold, cel-shaded art style and futuristic environments. Combat is stylish and fluid, with flashy animations and high-speed attacks. While the game features a strong anime aesthetic, it also includes a moody electronic soundtrack that complements the game's cyberpunk tone. Fun facts. Crismon Tedars was developed by the same team behind The Bouncer and Tobal No. 1. Despite its stylish presentation, the game received mixed reviews due to its repetitive level design and uneven difficulty. However, it has gained cult status over the years, especially among fans of anime-inspired action games with roguelite mechanics. EOE Eve of Extinction is a 3D beat-em-up action game released exclusively for the PlayStation 2. You play as Josh Calloway, a former employee of the Wisdom Corporation, who must rescue his girlfriend Eliel, transformed into a living weapon called the Legacy. The story takes place in a dystopian setting, where science, power, and corruption collide. The game's plot revolves around Josh's mission to take down the Wisdom Corporation and save Eliel's soul. As he fights his way through robotic enforcers and deadly agents, he uncovers the dark truth behind the experiments and his own connection to the weapon. The emotional bond between Josh and Eliel gives the story a unique, personal drive. Combat is fast-paced and stylish, with a system that lets you switch between different weapon forms mid-combo. The Legacy can become swords, staffs, axes, and even a whip, each with unique moves and special abilities. You chain attacks together in fluid combos, while adapting to enemy types and battle situations. The game features large levels with a mix of exploration, light platforming, and puzzle solving, alongside the action. Visually, it has a distinct early 2000s sci-fi aesthetic, and while the environments are simple, the animations and weapon effects are flashy and satisfying. The soundtrack complements the futuristic tone with electronic and ambient themes. Fun facts. EOE Eve of Extinction was developed by Yakuza, known more for their wrestling games. Despite being a hidden gem, it didn't get much attention at release, but earned a cult following for its creative weapon system and unique storyline. It's one of the few beat-em-ups on PS2 with a strong narrative focus and shape-shifting weapon mechanics. Yakuza Fury is a 3D beat-em-up released for PlayStation 2 as part of the Simple 2000 series. You play as Asuka Q, a former boxer drawn into the violent world of organized crime. As the story unfolds, you must fight rival gangsters, protect your allies, and rise through the Yakuza ranks using your fists, honor, and street smarts. The game features a branching story system influenced by your choices in battle. Attacking peaceful NPCs or using weapons on defenseless enemies lowers your honor stat, which changes the direction of the plot. Whether you're a cold killer or a disciplined warrior, your actions shape how others perceive you and what ending you get. Combat is classic beat-em-up style. Punches, kicks, throws, and the use of found weapons like pipes or swords. You'll face groups of enemies in alleyways, rooftops, and seedy clubs across the city. As you earn money, you can upgrade your abilities and buy new outfits that offer gameplay bonuses, like stronger special moves or faster item drops. After finishing the main story, players unlock Double Justice Mode, a two-player co-op mode where you can choose different characters to take on enemies in arcade-style stages. This adds replay value and brings a more traditional beat-em-up feel to the experience. Fun facts: Yakuza Fury was only released in Japan and Europe, never reaching North America officially. It's one of the lesser-known gems of the simple 2000 series. Despite budget production, the honor system, multiple endings, and stylish combat made it a cult favorite among beat-em-up fans.
Thanks for watching.